Bioharvest has developed patented technologies to isolate high-value plant-based molecules and grow them in bioreactors efficiently and at scale. These molecules are being marketed to both consumers through supplements and nutraceuticals and to the pharmaceutical industry as an ingredient. Bioharvest has launched its own fast-growing portfolio of enhanced nutraceutical and food products and is now targeting the pharma industry as a high-value ingredient supplier for existing and developing pharmaceutical products. CEO Ilan Sobel, who happens to have a fascinating career managing fast-growing consumer brands, is here to tell us about Bioharvest and why 2025 is shaping up to be a transformative year. I'm Martin Gago with Market Radius Research. It's Tuesday, February the 11th. Please remember, this is neither recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company. Ilan, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak to you, Martin, and to your audience.
Excellent. Why don't you start off by giving an overview of Bioharvest so people have a bit of a core understanding of what you do?
Great. So let me start off by saying, as CEO of Bioharvest Sciences, I think I have the best job in the world. It's a real privilege to be in this role, and I've been in this role now for nearly 5 years. And Martin, I came to this company as an investor. I was literally so blown away with the technology and what the company did that I actually, after a very rigorous due diligence, I invested in the company. I was very, very fortunate that after I drove them crazy with my due diligence, that I had the honor of being asked to come in and actually run the company. But let me just explain what Bioharvest is at its core. We are the global leader in plant cell biology. There is no other company in the world, and we've been going now for 17 years. The company was founded in 2007. There's no other company in the world that's able to unlock, Martin, all the secrets of cellular plant biology better than Bioharvest Sciences. And we have a technology that we call Botanical Synthesis, whereby we're able to take any plant in the plant kingdom. And as you know, and your viewers will know, that plants contain unique phytomedicinal compounds or phytonutrients that are so important for the human body from an overall health and wellness perspective. But it's very, very challenging to be able to harness the power of these phytomedicinal compounds because they're grown in such small levels and they are grown inconsistently. And our technology, Botanical Synthesis, is able to take the plant once, just once. And what we do, Martin, is we know exactly where inside the plant is the unique cells that produce these critical phytomedicinal compounds. We take these cells and we literally do thousands of experiments in a petri dish where we change the food we feed the cells, we'll change the lighting, the temperature, and a number of other variables that are part of our big black IP box. And at this stage, we get the cells to do two things. One, we get the cells to literally produce the exact same phytomedicinal compounds as the plant. We call this mirroring. Two is we get the cells, specifically a specific molecule inside the cell that we focus on, we increase by an order of magnitude. This we call magnification. So, for example, in our Vinea red grape cell powder product that literally we have sold in 2024 north of $25 million of product based on the fourth quarter guidance that we gave to the markets, we were able to increase the amount of piceid resveratrol by more than 100 times versus what's found in a red grape. And this we call magnification. So we mirror, we magnify, and then Martin, what we figured out is how to get these cells, literally, after we've locked them in a cell bank, we have this unique composition. We figured how to get the cells to grow in massive industrial scale bioreactors. And today we grow plant cells in the largest industrial scale bioreactors in the world. 18 to 22-day cycle, the cells multiply, they produce the phytomedicinal compounds, and we're left with literally, after harvesting the bioreactors, we drain all of the liquid, we're left with this rich mud of phytomedicinal compounds that we dry, and that's the end compound that we bring to the market. So we literally never use the plant again. We create these cell banks with unique magnified levels of phytomedicinal compounds that we can grow at massive industrial scale consistently, with unique predictability, with sustainability credentials that are best in class in the industry, and with the highest levels of solubility, bioavailability, and efficacy. And that's the end-to-end process that we've been able to demonstrate we can do on literally any plant in the plant kingdom that we're looking to generate consistent, predictable, economically viable compounds to be able to democratize, to improve health and wellness for consumers.
So you look at the specific plant that's creating this molecule you want. You see the mechanism of how they do it. You replicate that, call it in a test tube, and then you scale that up to industrial scale and bioreactors. So it's a living organism, and all it does is produce the one end molecule that you're hoping it to produce. So you're not growing all the other stuff.
Producing, exactly. So what we do is we just grow the specific compound, which is normally a combination of molecules that make up a compound. We don't need to grow the plant. I don't need to grow the plant. I just grow the cells that are the most important components in the plant that produce the critical compound that we've created in a way that we are able to mirror all the phytonutrients in the plant. And then we magnify one or two phytonutrients by an order of magnitude. So we create a final compound. We literally take those cells and we create a cell bank. So we lock the cells and we create a cell bank, and we never go back to the plant. And then we figured out how to get those cells that are in literally a Petri dish, like back in science class. And we're able to take cells from a Petri dish, and we know how to toughen these cells up. Plant cells, Martin, are like human cells. They have memories. We figured out how to condition the cells so we can toughen them up to work and survive in large industrial scale bioreactors. We're talking about north now of 1,200 liter bioreactors with shear forces inside them, liquid media, and the cells multiply and then produce the critical phytomedicinal compounds that are so important for our overall health and wellness. And then we simply harvest the bioreactors, we dry the cells, and you're left with the final end product. And that's this highly efficacious, soluble, bioavailable end product that either goes into a dietary supplement, in the case of our Vinea red grape cell product, which is part of our direct-to-consumer business, that today we have more than 50,000 active subscribers in the US market, or in our CDMO business, Contract Development Manufacturing Organization, where we opened the technology last year to work with giants of industry, pharmaceutical industry, cosmetic industry, nutrition industry, and nutraceutical industry, where we opened the technology to work with them. We will then produce the end compound for these companies under a royalty-based relationship, so that ultimately we can deliver the North Star of the company, which is to discover, develop, manufacture, and democratize 5 to 10 life-changing molecules from plants that can change the health and wellness in a positive way of hundreds of millions of consumers in a way that preserves the planet for generations to come. So the high-level technology feeds two businesses. that allows us to drive this critical North Star of the company.
With your Vinea product, so instead of having to grow thousands of acres of grapes and so forth and have a bad crop or a good crop and pesticides and whatever on or not, you just cut all that out. You grow the specific molecule you're looking for. So you've got a real
Correct.
platform.
Sorry to clarify. So in Vinea, if you can imagine this, each capsule has the same amount of piceid resveratrol, which is the gold standard of resveratrol, a very well-known compound. And I say the gold standard, it's like the Rolls Royce that we produce, because it's 25 times more soluble and much more bioavailable than regular resveratrol, which the rest of the market utilizes. If you go into Amazon today, every other product on Amazon which has resveratrol uses trans resveratrol. We're the only company that uses piceid resveratrol, the gold standard from red grapes, together with catechin, quercetin, anthocyanin, and tannins, which is our total compound. And that's because, Martin, we magnify the levels 100 times. And that's because of our botanical synthesis technology. And we're the only company that can produce piceid resveratrol from the red grape at a commercial and industrial scale. So this is what we make this is what the key molecule is in Vinea. And in each Vinea capsule is the same amount of piceid resveratrol as 1,000 red grapes. Okay? So literally no sugar, no calories, no alcohol. And that's why we're able to demonstrate that each bioreactor for us is literally producing the equivalent, I'll use acres in your language, of roughly today about 9 to 10 acres of land. So it's a real, game changer from an overall sustainability perspective. But importantly, we're producing molecules and compounds that change people's lives, that have no insecticides, that have no herbicides, that have no fungicides, that are clean ingredients, because we grow these cells in aseptic bioreactors, right? So it's aseptic in an aseptic environment. So there's no need for all of those, different, let's call it insecticides, herbicides, fungicides that you need when you're growing it out there in nature, dealing with the forces of the environmental conditions that you are, beckoned with every day.
Why did you choose Vinea? And just talk about the history of how you've grown that.
When the company was founded and the technology started to be developed in around about 2014, the two co-founders of the company decided that the area of cardiovascular health was such a significant space. If you look at cardiovascular health and heart health and the other benefits that flow from this, in the US, in a $55 billion dietary supplement market, broader cardiovascular health covers about $15 billion. That's the size of the market. And they understood the whole notion of the French paradox. If you go back to the French paradox, Martin, French paradox talks about the fact that the French people, they have a very fatty diet, lots of lipids, pate, but they have amazing cardiovascular health. So when the scientists went to understand what is it about the French that gives them such good cardiovascular health, they realized it was from moderate consumption of red wine. That's 2 to 3 glasses of red wine a day. Whether you call that moderate or not, but 2 to 3 glasses of red wine every day. And what was it inside the red wine? It was the critical polyphenols, specifically a hero polyphenol called piceid resveratrol. So by understanding the power of the French paradox and understanding that this is well known by people generally today, the company and the founders of the company decided that they wanted to go after this space and really felt that they could take the critical phytonutrients inside a red grape with our botanical synthesis technology and create this amazing wonder capsule that could provide the benefits from a cardiovascular health perspective. And off we went and developed the actual compound and started to produce the compound. And then we went, and we're a science-based company. And we went and we started to do in vitro tests. We started to do clinical trials, and we have multiple clinical trials published in peer-reviewed scientific journal. And in the case of our Vinea product, I'll just show a bottle of Vinea here for everybody. Okay, oops, here's the camera. In the case of our Vinea product, the key clinical trial we refer to is a clinical trial that was done, all double placebo, done according to the Helsinki Convention. We demonstrated that every consumer that took one capsule of Vinea every day for 90 days, we were able to significantly increase their flow-mediated dilation of their arteries. And with this increased arterial dilation, you have more blood flow. Now, Martin, people today are starting to understand how critical blood flow is to your body's operating mechanism. If the blood in your body is not flowing properly, you have a problem, specifically as part of the aging process. It's so critical that you have healthy blood flow levels. So we demonstrated that because of the increase in dilation of the arteries, that this compound was able to drive, because the specific compound of Vinea, alpacid resveratrol, we were able to increase the dilation of arteries. And that was as a result of our human bodies. We have 60,000 miles of arteries, capillaries, and veins. Imagine that, 60,000 miles inside all of us. And it's
Ilan, sorry, just to clarify, dilation, the veins actually expand,
bigger.
and they were more stretchy and that sort of a
Exactly,
thing.
the elasticity and the literally expansion. Okay, we were able to
Yeah.
significantly increase the expansion. And as I said, we all have 60,000 miles of arteries, capillaries, and veins in our bodies. And we want those 60,000 miles to be operating like 3-lane highways, not like a 1-lane small road, right? So what happens is all of those arteries are lined with endothelial cells. We have literally hundreds of millions of endothelial cells. And when the endothelial cells absorb the Vinea, they do two things. One, it increases the nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is a vasodilator. As you get older, as you start at the age of 30, it's scary, your body starts to produce less nitric oxide. So Vinea gets the endothelial cells to produce more nitric oxide. And then what Vinea also does, which is very, very unique, it has a double what we call mechanism of action, is it reduces the levels of nitric oxide. It reduces the levels of endothelial 1. Endothelial 1 is a vasoconstrictor. And as we get older, our body starts to produce more of the bad stuff, which is ET1, which is a vasoconstrictor. So what we're doing all the time when we're putting Vinea in our body is we're driving the absorption of Vinea into the endothelial cells. We're producing more nitric oxides, which is the good stuff, which is a vasodilator. And we're getting the body to produce less of the bad stuff, which is the ET1, which causes the arterial dilation. More arterial dilation means more blood flow. So what? Who cares, Martin? Well, I'll tell you, the more blood flow that you have, the more oxygen and nutrients are flowing to the body's tissue, cells, and organs, and you have more removal of cellular waste. And with this, you have more physical energy. And with more blood flow to the peripheral part of the brain, you have more mental alertness. And I'll tell you now, we all understand what is Maslow's hierarchy. Maslow's hierarchy, when Maslow talked about this 50, 100 years ago, it was shelter, food, and companionship, let's call it. I don't know what's a PG rating. We'll call it companionship. Well, the world's changed today. There's two new components of Maslow's hierarchy. It's physical energy and mental alertness. And this is really the game changer of what Vinea provides, on top of being able to maintain blood pressure with already normal levels, being able to reduce oxidative stress and damage to your cells, and to reduce the helps to support the reduction in oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which is also very important. And these are the key benefits that we communicate to our consumers. And that's why over the last 3 years, we've built 50,000 active subscription base once you're on the product, it's a life changer. People really see a significant, measurable difference in their lives. And we see that with a verified review rating of now nearly more than 7,500 reviews of 4.8 out of 5. Now, importantly, going back to the North Star of the company, Vinea for us was just a validation of the power of our technology. Vinea for us was able to demonstrate the power of botanical synthesis technology on how we could literally go from plant all the way to final molecule, scale it at a unique industrial scale. And today we have the most mature manufacturing of plant cells in the world, with a facility which today can produce up to 25 tons. We've increased it in the last 6 months. It was 20. We've now gone up to 25 tons of material. And Martin, that facility costs us $5 million. $5 million to produce a facility that can today produce 25 tons of material. And we sell Vinea today direct to consumer at around about $2,700 a kilo. So you do the math. At full capacity, you have 25 tons, so 25,000 kilos times $2,700 a kilo. You're looking at about $60 to $65 million of revenue per annum from one-time capex of $5 million US. And as I say to many of our investors and investment bankers, this is software economics in biotech. And we are fast biotech.
You talk about the revenue and the capex, which seems very impressive. What are the ballpark margins on that? Because if they're thin margins, then it doesn't really help, but we know you've got some healthy margins there, software speaking.
So the last financial results that we have reported is third quarter. And in third quarter, we shared that our gross profit was at 57%. And remember, that's based on a direct-to-consumer business. So it includes the transportation costs directly to your house as a consumer. Okay? That's important when you benchmark it. Now, I've stated quite publicly that over the course of the next 12 months, so as we get through this year, we want to be north of 65% gross profit margin. And we're making great strides to do that as it relates to increasing the size of our bioreactors, as it relates to improving yields. And what we've done that I'm most proud of, and fortunately, I've been blessed with an amazing career, 18 years as a senior executive for the Coca-Cola company, 5 years building a high-tech company, which myself and two other co-founders exited to Anheuser-Busch InBev before coming to this business. But when I look at what I'm most proud of and what I've done in a 25-year career is digitizing our manufacturing facility, our biotech facility, which we've done over the last 9 months. We fully digitized this facility. So imagine 160 bioreactors on the floor, all the critical biological markers, literally we've digitized. I literally have the entire map of my floor of bioreactors and the health of the bioreactors on my phone mapped. We can digitize every single biological metric, and that just helps us drive unique optimization, yields, and overall that all gets translated into gross profit delivery. So again, Vinea and the scaling of Vinea and the fact that last year, based on guidance, $25 million, it's a significant amount of revenue, allowed us to scale the factory and to be able to mature the technology to really build a blueprint for us to be able to get Vinea's gross profit margins to that 65% plus area over the next 12 months. But importantly, demonstrate the power of the technology platform and literally the ability, whether it's for our investor partners or it's for our actual partners that we're building the next generation of molecules for them, pharmaceutical companies, nutrition companies, demonstrating to them how we can efficiently produce these molecules from plants in a consistent, reliable, economically viable way, plus importantly with patents, because our entire process is patented as it relates to process, utility, and composition.
On your consumer product side, you roughly grew at 100% in the 9 months of last year.
We doubled the business every year for the last.
Should we be expecting that level of growth going forward, or as you get bigger, will it sort of, on a percentage-wise, sort of level off a bit?
It's a great question. My father always says to me, past performance predicts future performance. Okay.
Okay.
So whilst we haven't given guidance yet for 2025, I would say, the growth, absolute growth is going to continue and more. Obviously, given your base is becoming bigger and bigger, the percentages will look a little bit different, not drastically different, but you will see stellar growth from the company. We've had a great start to the year. We're already, halfway through first quarter, and the business has amazing momentum. The new products we've launched are doing, really well, adding incrementally to our core business. We have a number of new products planned for the year around Vinea, which is super exciting. And then we have the CDMO business that we opened up last year and made a major announcement in early December with the real, I would say, game-changing partnership that we have with Tate & Lyle, who's the #1 company in the world in relation to developing of sweeteners, specifically non-nutritive sweeteners. Your Splenda, all your major brands are produced by Tate & Lyle. And that agreement to partner with them on producing the next generation of non-nutritive natural sweeteners in our CDMO business is just, again, it's testament to how a company like Tate & Lyle, 186 years old, billions of dollars of revenue, the first company to actually list on the AIM in London, understood the power and magnitude of our technology and what it could do for their business. So when we start to see the growth in our direct-to-consumer business, we also add on really strong growth in our direct-to-doctor business as well, because we go to hundreds of integrated medicine specialists across the US of A, plus the deals that we're bringing into our CDMO business and the scale of those deals, which we're going to be talking more about in the next 90 days, you start to see, for 2025, like you said, it's a formative year for the company, which will continue the stellar growth rate that we've had for the last 3 years.
Tate & Lyle went to you and said, we want you to develop this molecule. And are they basing it off, like, are you replicating a stevia or some existing one, or are you kind of creating a new, we like this molecule, but if you could sort of add an electron or a proton, neutron here or there, and then we'd be really good?
It's pretty simple. Tate & Lyle, firstly, are an amazing company. They have, years of experience and wisdom in the area of, call it, sweet proteins. They had identified over the last 10 years a few plants that they felt had the capability with the right partner technology to be able to change the game in North America as it related to non-nutritive sweeteners. And if you look at the North American landscape, stevia is only accepted by still a minority of the American population. 25–30% of people are comfortable with stevia as a replacement for sugar. The size of the prize is just tremendous, and the opportunity to change people's health is tremendous, just given the amount of sugar consumption in countries like the US of A. So once Tate & Lyle heard about and understood our botanical synthesis technology and how our technology can mirror, magnify, and multiply cells, and how we could, with these specific plants, target the sweet protein actual molecule and do our magic to magnify it and suppress some of the actual molecules that harm the overall taste experience. This really is the holy grail that we're focused on delivering on for Tate & Lyle. And hence we signed the agreement in December, and we're now actively working on this project to bring to the marketplace and going through our R&D process which will take, it's a 2-year process end to end, as we actually start with the tissue culture work. Same process like I explained earlier, we do all the mirroring, the magnifying, we lock the cell bank, and then we teach the cells to grow in these large-scale bioreactors. It's roughly a 18 to 24-month process, of which we see results in the first 6 to 9 months, which is after the tissue culture. We know if we're successful at that stage, after what we call stage 1, we know we're going to have success in large-scale bioreactors because we've never failed going from stage 1 all the way through. And so that's why Tate & Lyle partnered with us. It's a very unique partnership. It's an anchor partnership for us because they have confidence that our technology has the ability to take these plants that they've been eyeing for years, but never had the technology to be able to commercialize in a way that was financially viable. And that's why we're focused on developing the next generation of non-nutritive sweeteners, which are critical tools in a broader toolbox that companies like Tate & Lyle will bring to their customers, and hopefully will really change the consumption profile of sugars for the American consumer. And that can have a magnifying effect on the overall US, call it health and wellness system, given, the challenges that are derived from excess consumption of sugar with a sedentary diet and a sedentary lifestyle, I should say.
So the model would be that then you would be, call it the farmer, you would produce the end molecule, send it over to Tate & Lyle, they would bag it, market it, package it, and do the work, and you would be the ingredient supplier for it.
We basically get paid for each stage of the R&D process. We make money during that process. Stage by stage, the margins improve. However, once we get to full-scale manufacturing, we take a royalty.
Okay. So they would do the bioreactors and growing of it, and then you would clip a royalty off it.
We will always produce, right? But we still take a royalty to cover what we do.
Okay. All right. You mentioned stage 1 is critical, and once you can hit that, then the rest is scaling. When are you hoping to hit stage 1 with the Tate & Lyle deal? What would that milestone be roughly?
What's critical in the first part before I call it our stage is ethical sourcing of the plants, which is a process which is very important. We need to source the plants. These are not plants that you find up and down the street. These are unique plants that have been identified. There are 500,000 plants in the plant kingdom. There's a lot of work that's been done to identify these plants. And so from the time we've sourced the plants and we start working with the plants, it's a 9-month process. And again, there's some flexibility there because we can't control certain elements of biology. Sometimes the cells will grow faster, sometimes they grow slower. It really just depends on the nature of the plant. But normally between 6 and 12 months, call 9 months the midpoint, we have a really good idea of what we are able to achieve in that stage 1, and whether we've kind of hit gold, or we need to keep on going, or we need to say, we were able to magnify it, but we couldn't magnify it enough to hit the cost targets that you need to democratize the molecule to the American consumer. So, and then we kind of take it from there.
And have you received the source plant material yet? So then sort of the 9 to 12-month clock is ticking?
All I can say is that we will very shortly start working on the tissue culture work.
So it could be a 2025 event where you hit.
I would be very, very happy to be able to drop that as a major catalyst before the end of the year. But again, it's biology. Yeah. This is what my PhD plant cell biologists tell me all the time when I ask them, "Can we speed it up?" They're like, "Ilan, it's biology. There's only so much we can do to the cells."
And then, and just to be clear, on the CDMO business, you would be an ingredient supplier, a high value.
It's a partnership. When you use the word ingredient supply, it makes me feel uncomfortable because think about it. We've developed the molecule for them. Okay.
Yeah.
they at the end of the process, they own, and all our customers, as they go through the end of the process, they own the composition rights to the final compound, and we basically have all the patents and everything else that's required from an ownership perspective on the process. We produce for them, and then instead of just selling it to them at a certain price, we take a royalty. That's how we work, because
Okay,
we
but you're
understand
not
the
going to
value that we've created.
but you're not going to be involved in the marketing or having to spend marketing dollars or hire
No,
sales.
no.
Like you hire salespeople to communicate with Tate and Lyle and find new business development, but not sort of sell it
Oh, well,
onward to the world.
whether it's Tate and Lyle or all the other companies we're working with in the pharma or in cosmeceutical space, we're very careful in selecting the projects. So we're only selecting projects where we believe the size of the prize for the end compound is going to change the industry. So this deal with Tate and Lyle, if we get it right, it'll change the whole industry. It'll change a multi-billion dollar sugar industry, right? So in this case, right, I'm not worried about the marketing story. You get the right compound, it does the marketing for you. Similarly, for the projects that we have in our funnel, the catalyst that we will bring to the market, we're not bringing compounds to the market which are not going to be game changers in the industry. And that's why we're trying to really prioritize and focus on the right deals, because we have plenty of deal flow, Martin. The key thing is making sure that we're focusing less is more, and we're focusing on deals that are going to produce end compounds that are going to change the industries. These are all multi-billion dollar industries.
All right. Have you announced any other partnerships besides Tate and Lyle?
We have announced the partnership at the beginning of the year. We announced the pharmaceutical partnership with a NASDAQ listed pharmaceutical company. We're under a very heavy NDA on this particular project. And we're making good progress. That's all I can say at this stage.
How many of these CDMO deals could you be concurrently running? Is two sort of the maximum, or could you layer on a couple more?
We have the capability to go anywhere up to 10 today, 10 deals at a time, 10 compounds at a time. We know how
Okay.
to do this. We're doing a lot of innovation in our R&D process from an efficiency perspective. For example, last year we purchased our first robot to help us at a very critical stage that was slowing things down. So we're always looking to build efficiency and to bring technology. We use AI significantly in the process. And we've built some very, very unique AI capability that helps us improve our experiments, helps us also in identifying the right plants and compounds. And so all these factors allow us to scale the R&D side of the business.
We should be expecting a few more partnership announcements throughout the rest of the year.
Definitely.
All right. And you said there are milestone payments with these CDMO deals. Is there an upfront just to get the work done, or you have to hit
So we
milestones?
have basically, I talked about stages, so
Yeah.
the process, let's call it end to end, is, let's say, a 24-month process. It's normally anywhere between 1.8 and $2.5 million in non-recurring engineering expenses. That 1.8 to 2.5 million is spread across different stages. So stage one is normally $350,000 to $400,000, which is the initial tissue culture work. Then we move to, basically, once we lock the cell bank, we then start to work on the cells being transferred from solid media into liquid media into small and medium bioreactors. We normally charge about $650,000 to $700,000 for this stage. And then to prepare and actually train the cells to grow in these large, 1,200 liter plus bioreactors, it's close to $1 million. So all in, 24-month cycle, 1.8 to $2.5 million, depending on some of the unique intricacies of each compound.
And you charge that to the your partner. So this is on a you cost recovery, make a little bit of profit to cover your R&D, and then you get paid to do R&D, and then the big money comes once you start to sell the
Right,
product.
in the royalty. The big money comes in the royalty.
So you make money off of actually you'll produce the product and sell it to them, and then clip a royalty as well.
No, so basically, we do make money through the actual R&D phases. Okay,
Yeah,
so which is a plus. It's a huge. Most companies don't make money in those stages, right?
yeah.
But we make money in those stages, and we'll continue to improve our margins in those stages as we continue to make the changes we need to make that process more efficient. And as I said, we're using robotics, AI, and then once we produce the compound, right? It's not a classic transactional relationship. We will basically produce that compound under a royalty-based relationship with the customer, depending if it's a pharmaceutical ingredient API, the royalty will be different. Say, for example, to if it's a nutritional product.
But you will be doing the manufacturing or the
Yes,
growing of the cells
yes, we
yourselves.
will always be manufacturing.
So you've got two under your belt right now. You expect a few more coming out through the rest of the year. You announced your Tate and Lyle. It takes about 2 years, you were saying, to develop and bring a molecule to market. So that'll be like a 2027 event where you would start selling the Tate and Lyle product if it
But what's
proceeds successfully.
important for the audience to understand is that Bioharvest Sciences, we have the botanical synthesis technology. That technology supports two business units. It supports the CDMO that we just talked about, but it also supports the direct-to-consumer business. That direct-to-consumer business did, as I said, as a company, we've given guidance to do $25 million in 2024. The results will be announced in the next 6 weeks based on our requirements. But basically, the majority of that revenue came from the direct-to-consumer business because we only started the CDMO business in February, March of last year. We started that business. So that direct-to-consumer business is a cash generator. Okay, I have a 24-hour cash turnaround because it's all direct-to-consumer. We don't like retailers in our business. We like to go directly to consumers. And that business is going to help us get to EBITDA profitability for the company by the third quarter of this year, I should say, which is what
Of
we're trying
2025.
2025, third quarter. We're trying to, second half, end of third quarter, early fourth quarter, we're trying to land the company at EBITDA profitability.
So you started on the consumer product side of your business selling the Vinea pills, and
Yep, we
you've
started.
expanded
Yep.
and you've broadened the portfolio. You've got coffee cups and I think tea bags. And can you talk about how that portfolio, Vinea
Yeah, sure.
infused products, is expanding?
Great. It's a great question. So we developed a strategy. We call it our Vinea Insight strategy, which is all about, we call it superior science, superior efficacy, and superior taste. So what we've done is we've looked at American consumers, and what we've identified are unique, scalable, billion-dollar delivery mechanism categories to go after, disrupt these categories with bringing superior science, superior efficacy, superior taste, and allowing premiumization of products and improvement in gross profit margins. So the first one we picked was coffee. Okay. US market, billion-dollar coffee market. So what we did is we've developed the first, resveratrol superfood coffee, K-cups. Initially, we started with the K-cups. We have a regular and a decaf. There's a perfect fit between Vinea and coffee. When you're taking our Vinea coffee product, because our past resveratrol lasts in the body for at least 12 hours, you have one pod and you're good for the whole day. You get your caffeine kick, and then the Vinea keeps you going all through the day from an energy and from a mental alertness perspective. And then in decaf, we have very unique decaf product where we utilize Swiss water technology for the decaf coffee, because regular decaf coffee, the decaffeination process, taking out the caffeine, is normally used with solvents, and we don't use solvents in our process. We're not going to use solvents in a coffee. So we use the Swiss water process that takes out the caffeine using a very strong water process. And then in the case of decaf, you get all the physical energy and mental alertness you need, but without the jitters and the crash, because you're getting it from blood flow, not from caffeine. So we've sold now close to $2 million of coffee since we launched in December 2023. End of December 23, we launched. So literally, we've been going 13, 14 months. It's $2 million business already. Okay. And we're premium priced. We're the most expensive coffee on Amazon. Roughly $2 a pod. Consumers buy it because they understand the power. This is not just a coffee. It's great tasting coffee. So again, going back to superior science, superior efficacy, superior taste. You've got the science, which is the botanical synthesis. You've got the efficacy because of all our clinical trials. And inside each one of these pods, or K-cups as they call it, is the equivalent of one capsule of Vinea. And then we do not have products leaving our R&D until we've taste tested them and make sure that we beat market leaders. Right? This is from my 18 years at Coca-Cola. Quantitative, blind taste testing. Hence, superior science, superior efficacy, superior taste, which is why we can go into a market, premium price, and roughly $2. It's roughly 3 times the cost of a regular coffee in the market, even 3 to 4 times, and build a solid business. And we're about to, in the next few months, 120 days, we're going to launch this little baby, which is the first superfood in an Nespresso compatible pod. K-cup compatible, Nespresso compatible pod. And this is going to be a game changer in the marketplace. Vinea Espresso, we're calling it. And that'll complete the play in disrupting a major multi-billion-dollar market by starting to trade consumers up into a better for you coffee solution by bringing their supplementation and coffee together in a very convenient format with superior science, superior efficacy, and superior taste. And we've just done the same in the tea category. Okay, this is our tea sampler where we produced 4 different types of teas. In a beautiful tea sachet, we have this is our fine cut green tea, Vinea fine cut green tea, signature green tea. We have a English breakfast black tea. By the way, this beat the market leader, literally 70-30 in blind taste testing. All quality teas. They're rainforest certified. So again, from an overall sourcing perspective, best in class sourcing, all utilizing organic teas. And we also have a hibiscus cranberry tea, which is what I'm drinking right now. Tastes delicious. And we have a matcha green tea. It comes each in individual packs, and then we also have like our variety pack. All right. And then we will be launching this as well in K-cups in the next 60 days. So this was launched a month ago. We've seen an amazing response. Again, superior science, superior efficacy, and superior taste. And this is how we're going into major billion-dollar categories and just giving consumers what they want. Because the American consumer wants, give me better for you health and wellness choices. But the current companies out there, they don't have the technology that we have. And they don't have the ability to bring that technology to life in great tasting premium products, which are purpose fit for the American consumer. So this is the play in coffee and tea, Martin. And then we're going to be launching as well in the next few months, a Vinea chew product. So for the audience, I'm not sure if they know what chews are, but I'm going to take a chew here. So inside this chew, this is just, again, another delivery mechanism. You can see in the camera, looks amazing, you see, okay? Inside, this is, we're calling a Pro Chew with a 2X formula. So this is targeting younger consumers. We're talking about athletes, people that are super active, that are looking for more vascularity. And each of these Pro Chews, it has 2 times the amount of Vinea, or 2 times the amount of red grape powder, which is our Vinea product, inside each one of these chews. And as we move into the next 12 months, we'll be launching a hydration product and a topical skincare product, where we've actually going to be bringing the power of Vinea, again, increasing blood flow to the epidermis layer of the skin. If you want good skin, you got to have good blood flow. That's what taking the capsule systemically does. And we've developed an amazing super moisturizer to go together as one unit. Capsule in the morning, super moisturizer in the evening, giving you really the skin health that consumers are looking for as it relates to ensuring that we're reducing all the cellular toxins from the skin, as well as improving hydration, moisturization. So that's the playbook that we have on our Vinea red grape powder. And then what's exciting is we have the next molecule ready, which I have here in my hand, which is olive cells. And we start on this journey, and I'll go back. We talked about the French paradox, Martin. This is all the power of the Mediterranean diet on steroids. And we all know how important olive oil is when it comes to the critical polyphenols and antioxidants. So we have, but obviously full of calories, we have developed a unique molecule, which is called verboscoside. And verboscoside is one of the most potent antioxidants from the olives. And we know today we produce this, we believe, at the highest levels in the world, based on our, remember, mirroring, magnification. And this, we're focusing on liver health. Remember, 1 in 4 Americans today suffers from non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So we really believe that investing as part of the aging process in your liver health is very, very important. And we're now going through the clinical trial process with this product and the regulation process, but we will deploy a very similar playbook to what I've just laid out for you on our Vinea as we bring this to market, basically in 2026 and beyond.
You said you're doing clinical trials. As a nutraceutical or a supplement, those aren't, at least in North America, I guess if you're not making health claims, are not required. You can put anything into a pill and say, here it is.
Not correct. Not correct. According to FDA guidelines, if you want structure function claims, those structure function claims have to be supported by clinical trials.
Okay, because you're making claims, functional claims.
Structure function, they're called structure function claims. It's different to a health claim. It's a structure function claim according to FDA guidelines. And you have to lodge those structure function claims with the FDA within 30 days of utilizing those claims. And then you obviously, very importantly, you have the onus from an FTC perspective to make sure that you can back up the science and validation behind each of those claims, which is why, as a company, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, north of $1 million, when you look at the amount of studies that we've done, millions, and we'll continue to do on our compounds.
So that you can make those structure function claims and not just put out sort of a generic supplement that...
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Or, there are many companies that make claims, but they don't have the clinical trials to support those claims. And that's not, obviously it's the industry that we're operating, but we obviously, as a public company, we're operating in the way that comply specifically with all the FDA guidelines.
Okay, so you're broadening your portfolio of the Vinea, and then you're going to be launching with the new verboscoside. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, verboscoside, very good, Martin. First time
around. And then that wouldn't be under the Vinea brand name. You would create a new brand
We have
for
a
that to
new,
go.
we have a new trademark for this.
Are you going to be creating more of an umbrella brand like the sort of promote the Bioharvest?
You're a branding genius. Yes. I mean, now that we basically start to have, we have Vinea and then what we will call our olive cells. We also have pomegranate cells in our pipeline. Ultimately, we want to bring this underneath one roof, which really
Yeah.
reflects the uniqueness of our technology. So we can start to talk to consumers more about how we actually produce these compounds, the uniqueness of the technology, the sustainability credentials, so that people really understand the magnitude of the technology that's going into producing these products with unique efficacy backed by, science, backed by clinical trials.
And going to your distribution, you're doing DTC, direct to consumer. You're not selling them at Costco or in anywhere else because you can keep more of the margin yourself, presumably, and
Also,
really own the client.
the relationship with the consumer is critical, absolutely
Yeah.
critical.
All right. So you've got your own website. You sell it. Do you actually sell it on Amazon itself, or do you got to go to your
So we have
website?
it's a great question. About 75% of our revenue comes from Vinea.com, which is our
Okay.
website. And then obviously, just given the sheer size of Amazon and the Amazon marketplace, you'll find us on Amazon. Now, Amazon represents the other 25% of our business. And, our Amazon, when you look, I love going to Amazon because you'll see on Amazon, if you go there, any of your viewers go there after watching, see us always ranked number 4, number 5, number 6 of all the resveratrol brands. We're the only one with piceid resveratrol, remember that. And secondly, we obviously sell at a premium given the uniqueness of our technology and the science that we have. And as a result, we have amazing results, very good ratings. So yeah, we basically go through these two major routes to market, and then we go direct to doctor. You will find Vinea sold in the majority of high status integrative medicine specialist practices across the USA, because the integrative medicine specialists, they understand the empirical importance of blood flow as being such a critical part of everybody's operating mechanism. And if you have good blood flow, right, it supports so many other functions in your body.
With some supplements you take, they're supposed to be good for you. Like I take my omega-3 oils, but it's not like I feel better after I take my, maybe mentally, I feel like, okay, I'm doing good for myself. Do your consumers notice a difference in
Oh my
their
God.
clarity, their strength, or whatever?
Absolutely. And I would encourage all the listeners here to go to Vinea.com, click on reviews, read the reviews. Okay, you'll see more than 7,500 reviews, a 4.8 out of 5 verified rating. Read what people write. When someone just writes 3 words, you know that the product doesn't have a stickiness. When people are writing paragraphs on how your product changes their lives, you realize this product really works. And again, it goes back to our science, our focus on clinical trials, basically the need to educate consumers, and people see a transformational change in their overall health and wellness and what they feel. And it can be within 2 weeks. It can sometimes take a little bit longer. That's why all of our trials, clinical trials, are 90-day trials. And that's why basically we say to people, for best to consume up to 90 days to feel the real difference. And people see a drastic change in their physical energy. Why? Because they have more blood flow. They have more oxygen, more nutrients flowing to their body tissues, cells, and organs. More blood flow to the brain. Martin, goodbye brain fog. More mental alertness. So this goes back to Maslow's hierarchy. You feel the difference. Excuse me, which is really why this is such a unique supplement, because you can feel the difference, but also importantly, you understand the importance of blood flow, and the need to have continued healthy blood flow as part of your aging process. It's absolutely critical. And it starts at the age of 30. We start aging at the age of 30.
What percentage of your sales are in the US versus rest of world?
After 18 years at Coke, one thing that Coke taught me what to do was to focus. Okay, so today, 95% of our sales comes from the US, or comes from North America. Of that, 95% is the USA. So roughly 93% of our sales is America. We have a little bit in Canada, which is cross-border, Canadians buying product from our US website, even though we are registered in Canada. We've been registered by Health Canada, gone through the whole process with them. They've recognized our clinical trials. We have claims that we're allowed to make based on our trials, but we haven't gone to local marketing in Canada just because the size of the prize in the US has been so big. And, as a company, when you're literally doubling your business, I don't need to fragment myself and go to other markets, right? So we've stayed focused on the US. Obviously, we have our kind of home market here in Israel, which is 3-4% of our business, which is a great test and learn market. And we'll continue because the size of the market in the US, think about it, like I said, in the case of heart health, it's $15 billion market in supplements. Right? So why fragment yourself? But we will strategically start to drive horizontal growth in key markets. And the market that we have our eye on as we look at, what's next is Japan, which is, for us to build a fortress in Japan for our company is critical based on 115 million people, aging population, high affordability levels, understand the power of the plant kingdom and the impact that plants have and the phytomedicinal compounds from plants, the impact that it has on people's lives. And we actually have existing infrastructure in that market. So we know that market pretty well. And so over the next few years, we'll start to surgically build our business in that market because we see it as a market that has significant growth. And that's why when you look at our innovation pipeline, coming in with disruptive wellness teas and coffee, the Japanese market when it comes to tea and coffee, for coffee, it's the biggest ready-to-drink coffee market in the world. You understand the linkage between Japanese and teas. So this is also part of our thinking from a long-term perspective. Massive opportunity in the US, but success in the US means we've got a really good chance of replicating that in a market like Japan.
And as a Canadian, I was looking around, so you don't directly sell it. It's you as a Canadian, I buy out of the US and they ship it across the border.
You're allowed to in Canada, according to the regulations, you're allowed to, as an individual consumer, purchase up to 3 months of product.
Okay.
So you can purchase, in the way we sell in the US, and this is important, 90% of our business is subscription.
Okay.
Okay. So, and we have best in class churn rates because our product works and our lifetime value is best in class in the industry. So, but and our key packages are 3-month recurring subscriptions, 6-month and 12-month. They comprise literally 90% of our subscriptions. Canada, we only offer 1-month and 3-month recurring subscriptions because legally you can't purchase more than 3 months at one time.
Okay, so you'd get like 90 pills in your 3-month subscription, and then
when you go in as a Canadian and we see you coming in from Canada, we don't in your shop. You don't have access to the 6-month and 12-month subscription packages.
We need to wrap this up here shortly. You mentioned you're aiming towards EBITDA break even in second, third quarter, around that. Can you just talk about, sorry, third and fourth quarter? Can you just talk about your financial statement, your burn rate? Are you going to have to are you expecting to raise some capital anytime in the near term to drive growth or anything, or are you going to be self-sufficient to do that?
So obviously, to get to that EBITDA profitability level, the burn rate's coming down. As we scale the business, every month that burn rate is coming down, and that's beauty in my eyes because it's critical. And if you actually look at our journey and how quickly we've done that for the biotech industry, we're like top 5%, if not better, based on that journey. As a company, we're always going to need to grow, and if we decide to raise more capital following the EBITDA profitability, it's going to be just to accelerate growth, build new manufacturing plants, which are critical to accelerate growth.
As well, in part of your capital market strategy, you've recently listed on NASDAQ Global. So that sounds like a change in focus and broadening of your market for the investor, appealing to investors.
For the retail investor, we needed to make sure we had more access. And obviously being on NASDAQ is critical. as I've been told by the investment bankers, there's very few companies when they come in and they say we're gonna move to NASDAQ that actually deliver on that. And we delivered on that in November of last year. It was a big achievement by the company. And importantly, not just for the retail investor, but also for the institutional investors. We obviously starting to look very interesting for institutional investors, technology and where the technology can go, the optionality across a direct-to-consumer business with all these unique verticals that we're going in with superior science, superior efficacy, and Martin's superior taste. You should be able to say this right now, like this, at the end of this 1 hour. And then obviously what we're doing in the CDMO business by really developing those life-changing molecules together with key giants of industry. So for us, having that access on NASDAQ for the institutions, plus easy access for retail investors, plus analyst coverage. We already have 2 banks covering us. And that's obviously important just for the credibility of the company and getting that independent perspective with very strong buy ratings on the company. So this is really all part of our capital markets strategy as we really start to bring in more investors on this exciting journey that we're driving to deliver the North Star of the company, which ultimately is to develop 5 to 10 life-changing molecules from plants and to democratize these molecules and drastically change the health and wellness of hundreds of millions of consumers, but importantly, Martin, doing it in a way that preserves the planet for our children and our grandchildren, because that's just so critical. And when you look at our technology, we use a micro fraction of the land, a fraction of the water, and of the energy. So this is why we really believe the botanical synthesis technology is a real catalyst to drive major change in the world of therapeutic solutions all the way through to nutrition, because finally there's a technology that's scaled, that's mature, that can be the bridge between the amazing phytomedicinal compounds that exist across 500,000 plants and harnessing this to improve people's overall health and wellness. And that's why I think I have, going back to the first statement I made on this podcast, I think I have the best job in the world. I just got to make sure that we operationalize everything and we can really change the world.
We need to wrap it up here. Those sounded like a good closing comments. Any final words before we call it a day here?
I think we've covered a lot of ground. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a real privilege to be on your show. I really enjoyed your questions, and I'll just leave your investors and your audience with this, that like at the end of the day, we've got to make sure that we're investing in companies that have unique capabilities, that have what I call inimitable, sustainable competitive advantage, and companies that ultimately are going to change the world and make the world better. And we really fit each of these key areas. Specifically, when you actually layer up all of our technology from a botanical synthesis perspective, we've built such a strong moat around the technology that every day we're strengthening and strengthening so that we have what we call inimitable, sustainable competitive advantage, so we can lead this movement of change to be able to really bring the power of the plant kingdom to people and improve their overall health and wellness. So thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Ilan, that was very interesting. A great story. Definitely on my watch list, see how you guys progress. Thank you very much. And I look forward to getting you back here as the business grows and proceeds, and we can hear updates of the growth.
Thanks. I really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you, Martin.